I still have some marking up to do here.
I'm not satisfied with my lipstick.
I didn't grab that final sheet. Did I print two out for you? I don't think so. Wait, you know what? You might have, actually. Oh, God, there's a bunch of stuff here that is not mine. Yep, there's one for you.
Who's this one? All right.
All right.
Oh, wait. One more thing.
Is that going to pick up any of the noise I'm hearing? Should I close the door, I guess, is what I'm asking? Or... I couldn't hear it. All right, good, yeah. We still have no air conditioning in here. So we have the door open to keep it cooler, and cooler is 77 degrees. Okay, I'm good to go.
So does Microsoft have little gremlins that tell the print version to print on both sides?
That is a setting in there.
It changes itself back.
You might have a default set.
Drives me nuts. Okay.
Richard hates it too.
It's just that, you know what? I can screw things up bad enough myself that, the system or whatever changing things on me is just, it's not fair.
She was talking about it printing on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
and
No,
not
no,
like
Yeah.
I hate
I
printing
just
both
looked at
sides.
it and said, don't print on both sides. What does it do? It prints on both sides.
I mean, I know I'm supposed to be saving trees or something, but I have no interest on, both sides. Period. Done. I'm not saying anymore.
Well, it bleeds through. I get it.
Well, and it's hard to keep track, and you're right. You bleed through when you're trying to mark it up. I don't know. My daughter and my son just make me feel horrible. Dad, do you have any idea? I don't. And they went to college, and it was, by the time they got to CSU, it was paperless. So that's all they know. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm not.
Have they ever had to pick up a piece of paper and sight read it on the air?
Yep.
I don't think they have.
Yeah, I think it might be old school for them, but I need a lot of reminders. So, there you go. Okay, sorry.
Oh, no,
I'm ready.
No, we're good. Okay. I'll count us down. In 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker is also a pilot. And Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have got to offer. Barb, it is always great to be talking with you. Now, we air your real estate voice every Saturday. If you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or look for it. You can search Barb on most of the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. Barb, what's in store for today's show?
Well, Richard, this first topic is a bit controversial. We're talking about why should a seller pay a buyer's agent commission? And just so you know, I get that question every single week from my clients, and I have to answer the question. And I think you'll be surprised on the opinions that come across. And, at the end of the day, it's a seller's decision on how they're going to handle the fees. And by the way, Richard, they changed the name of commission in the state from commission to compensation. Doesn't that sound nicer?
I guess. I mean, it's the same amount, isn't it?
It is, but it has a new name.
Yes.
They're kind of reframing it in a nicer sound, I guess, because they did kind of make the word commission sound like a 4-letter word almost.
Yes.
All right. So the second topic is also about real estate agents and how to prevent agents from derailing the sale over home inspections. So this is a topic near and dear to my heart because I'm dealing with it day in and day out. And the unfortunate part is the inspectors are not licensed or qualified by the state. So you never know what you're going to get, and you never know what they're going to come up with. And it's quite extraordinary. So we're going to go into some detail about that and how you can protect yourself when it's time for the home inspection. The third topic is about the 27 easy fix-up tips to give yourself the competitive edge before you put your home on the market. Now, I'm not suggesting you completely remodel your home. It's not necessary. The number one driver in whether or not a home sells quickly, by far, over and above everything else, is price. So, but we'll talk about some things that might be able to get you the highest price and maybe get you over the edge between being one of those homes that's not selling because it's overpriced. Might be pretty, but if it's overpriced, it's just going to sit there, and the home that is. And last but not least, I love talking about why accept a cash offer versus going through the traditional sales process. Which one is better? And it really is a choice of what the home seller wants. So we'll talk about the pros and cons of all of these. And I always love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, a lot of people believe that real estate commissions are too high for the services that they receive now that the rules have changed. Many people are asking why do Colorado home sellers have to pay buyer's agent commissions?
Well, they don't have to pay anything. Commission is 100% negotiable. But when that lawsuit came down about almost 3 years ago now, that basically it wasn't just one lawsuit. There were something to the tune of possibly 10 lawsuits, either being adjudicated or underway, that indicated that basically we had the real estate industry had some pretty serious antitrust things going on, meaning some of the brokerages were mandating how much commission was offered to the buyer's agent. And then it was kind of hard coded into the MLS offering, and it was non-negotiable at all. So finally, after losing a whole bunch of lawsuits, the National Association came up with a settlement that was basically two things. The first was that no longer is the buyer's agent compensation, which used to be called commission, offered anywhere online, not in the MLS, not anywhere. And the other rule was that basically the buyer's agent had to have a written agreement with their buyers about who would pay their fee and how much their fee was, but they didn't know who was going to pay their fee. So There's really no policing over that particular aspect of it, but those were the settlement. That was the settle agreement between the National Association and the division of DOJ, Division of Justice. So I will tell you that not all real estate agents are the same. Hate to say this, it's only 1 month of school to be a real estate agent. There's not much training. There's absolutely no job description. There's very little on how to, and these people go out and they handle one of their largest assets. So the thing that I find very weird, and this might be true, nationwide, I know it is in Colorado, that the state laws mandate the agent's duties to be pretty much nothing. They have to use reasonable skill and care is really all they say. And they have to account for money and disclose broken stuff. But the agents have no duty to do an independent inspection on the house that the buyer's buying, nor do they have a duty to verify anything. They're just kind of like very well-paid messengers, in my view. And so sometimes they try to position themselves as experts to say, oh, I've done this before. I know how it goes. You do an inspection, and then the inspector says this, and then we'll approach it this way. We'll ask for this. We may not get it all, but let's try it. So they're trying to position themselves to get stuff for the buyer. At the end of the day, it's the buyer's decision and the seller's decision about how they're going to reach agreement over price and repairs and all that stuff. The other thing that I find very disturbing is that the state also says that the agents have no duty to verify the buyer can buy. But that's what the consumer expects. The sellers are saying, hey, wait a minute. I don't want any people just coming to look at my house just because they find it pretty online or interesting. I only want people that can buy walking in the door. But the state says very clearly in both the listing agent's agreement and the buyer's agent agreement that there's no duty for the agent to do that. The way I view this is I have a duty to whoever writes my paycheck. So I'm going to find that out. I'm concerned about whether or not the buyer can buy. And here's the other part that makes me crazy is the MLS system's mandate that, once the seller accepts a contract on the property, even though that contract could fail for many different reasons, one of which is the buyer cannot buy, right? You have to tell the world it's under contract. In other words, create demand destruction against the seller and not open the door for other buyers to come in and get the house. Because we don't know if this buyer can buy. All we know is the seller accepted a contract and we're waiting for it to either A, go through, or B, fall apart. So it's messed up. So now, since the buyer's agent commission has a new name, it's remarketed as compensation, it's not mandatory for the seller to pay the buyer agent fee. That basically comes with a request in the offer. So I'm going to write an offer and the buyer is going to request from the seller, hey, seller, will you pay my buyer agent fee, their commission? Oh, by the way, they're going to ask you to cut your price. They're going to ask you to pay the buyer's closing cost. They're also going to ask you to do repairs. So will you pay me to do all that? What do you think? How's that sound, Richard?
That does not sound like something I want to be paying for.
So I'm getting the questions on a regular basis. Why should I do this? Why should I pay the buyer agent to work against me in the transaction? And that really was the original premise of all these lawsuits. So now that it's kind of settled out and sort of settled, basically there's a paragraph built into the state forms that makes the request that says so much of the purchase price will be paid by the seller, the buyer's brokerage firm, as a third-party beneficiary under this provision. In other words, hey, Mr. Seller, will you pay my agent for bringing me here? Okay, essentially, that's all they're doing. So it is negotiable. That makes it more fun. It's up to the seller. The seller could change their mind and say, no, not paying anything. You, Mr. Buyer, you could pay your own agent their fee. And I've seen that work out. And I will tell you some horror stories. Like recently, I've had, we usually launch the home with an open house if they're in the high density areas. Sometimes in the rural areas, it doesn't really apply, but many times we will get offers from agents on our listings that have not set foot in the home, right? They sent the buyer out there to go look at the home and ask their questions and find out all about it. So that should be their duty, but it's really not defined. And then they sit in their fuzzy bunny slippers and write a 10-minute form fill, and they want to get paid tens of thousands of dollars. So I got an offer last weekend where the seller's like, no, I don't want to pay you $27,000. I'll pay you $19,000 for not being here, for not doing anything and just filling out a form. That's still a lot of money, Richard. Doesn't that sound like a lot of money?
That's a ton of money. It just simply is.
It's crazy. And the answer is, oh, that hurts. You're not going to pay me $27,000. I haven't done anything yet.
One thing for you, Barb, it is everything is negotiable, and Barb Schlinker knows how to negotiate.
Yeah. And so, still to this day, a lot of times the buyer is meeting the buyer for the first time at the front door. They don't know if they can buy, they don't know what they want to buy. And yet the buyers try to then sort of whittle the seller down on things like repairs, price, concession, all kinds of things like that. So my name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. I've been doing this for 30 years. Can you believe it? It goes by so fast. I've sold well over 3,000 homes. And I've done this before. So it's not like you're dealing with somebody that just came fresh out of school. I've had a lot of experiences. And that's the whole point of this show, is just to share this with you. And that way, when you do actually buy or sell a piece of real estate, you're actually informed about what's going on and what to expect. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can always reach Barb at 719-301-3900. And we're talking, Barb, about a somewhat sensitive real estate commissions topic. What about agents are... let me do that again. I worded that poorly. We're talking, Barb, about a somewhat sensitive topic, real estate agent commissions and whether agents are really worth it. So, Barb, what are some of the other things that a home seller should look for when they're choosing an agent to represent one of their very largest assets?
Well, here are the facts. In the Pikes Peak region, there's over 6,300 agents. In the Denver area, there's over 35,000 agents. Actually, in total, probably 55,000 in the state. These are MLS stats. I'm not just saying this. 81% of agents sell 3 or less homes a year. According to Zillow, 72% sold 0 last year. And there's a huge turnover in the industry. Every 5 years, most, like 87%, get out of the business. So who do you want handling your largest asset? Do you want somebody that hasn't done this before, that's just sticking their toe in to make a quick commission? Or you want somebody that knows what you're doing, what they're doing? So you really want to hire an agent that has experience both on pricing, preparation, promoting, and negotiating. And a lot of agents really just don't have enough what I call at bats or opportunities in order to do that. So it's really, really important when you pick the right agent. Something like negotiations, it's interesting. It's the least taught skill in this industry. And yet the sellers actually expect us to know what we're talking about. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We do a free in-home consultation. We'll tell you all about how we do things, give you an idea what your home will sell for, give you tips on what to do and what not to do to get your home ready for sale, and we offer plenty of guarantees. My name is Barb Schlinker, and the number to call is 719-301-3900 or barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. Your real estate voice should be Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to prevent agents from derailing the sale with the home inspection.
Okay. Was I delicate enough on that topic, or was I in their face?
No, I think you were delicate and you walked a fine line that, you know, I don't think you said or acted in an unfair manner at all, is how I would characterize it. And
Well, a lot of people think that that whole commission thing is that I'm driving it. I'm telling the sellers not to pay. I'm not. It's not my choice. It's the seller's choice. I present the offer, and sometimes they'll ask me what I think. Sometimes they just go, we're good with that. We'll take it. It's totally up to them, not me. So.
Well, and too, I just don't know, but human nature tells me that some of these people, I don't know what they think should happen. $100, $500. I mean, you build your entire business, and people build their businesses on these transactions. And you're not just paying for the couple of minutes that somebody's working on the piece of paper. In your case, they're paying for 27 years of experience that somebody else doesn't have. And I wouldn't say it necessarily, on a spot or whatever, but yeah, Barb Schlinker deserves a whole hell of a lot more with 27 years of experience marketing and negotiating than somebody who spent a month and doesn't know what the heck they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't characterize it that way when they bring an offer. I mean, it's really their decision at the end of the day. And some people feel very strongly about it, and some are just, no, we're okay with that. I'm like, all right. So I don't try to. I think a lot of agents think I talk them into that, and it's really not true. So anyway, I'm very hated.
Not by the two people in this room.
It's kind of funny. It's like some people like, oh, I'd never work with you. You're Carilla DeVille. I'm like, I've never met you.
That is ironic, isn't it? I mean, because I say all the time, and I really believe it, and that is, if you want to hate me, that's okay. All I ask is you really understand who I am, what I believe, what I say, and if you hate that, that's okay, because I have to just live with who I am, right? But if you have no clue in the world who Barb Schlinker is, or what she's about, or what she says, or how she does things, then you ought to find that out before you say anything critical.
Yeah, it's just gossip. I'm sure it happens in any industry. Or I mean, I had a seller call me this morning, and she referred to Google as far as how the inspection was supposed to go, and I'm like, oh boy, okay.
Yeah, I know how that will turn out. That'd be about the same as me telling my wife or my kids I looked up my medical condition on Google and
right.
Yeah, WebMD or something like that. Yeah.
I bet doctors love hearing that. Google said I had this wrong with me.
Well, and the thing is, there's more and more and more of it, and not necessarily because people don't believe doctors. I have, I'm in good health and stuff. I got some problems and some things to take care of, but I don't think I've seen an actual real doctor in 2 or 3 years, because I'm always seeing a physician's assistant here or a medical assistant there or whatever. Jeez.
Try to stay out of those spaces as much as I can.
You got it. Okay, I got number 2. I'm good to go.
Ready.
Count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, when buyers do a home inspection, typically they're checking to see if the home is still in functional condition. What are some of the most common issues that arise on inspections, and how can sellers be prepared for that inspection?
Well, I can tell you, Richard, in my business, every week is a surprise to me at what comes up on inspections. And sometimes I don't, excuse me, sometimes I really don't know where it's coming from. Did they just make that up? Did they believe the inspector? Did they do their own AI research or whatever? But at the end of the day, what goes on in Colorado, damn, my voice just crashed. Hold on. At the end of the day, one more try. At the end of the day, the state of Colorado does not license home inspectors. There's no certification. There's no qualification to be an inspector. I usually tell sellers, if it makes you feel any better, a lot of them get an online certification. It usually doesn't make them feel better. So the agents, so I don't know how much the agents know that or not, but the agents kind of tend to the easy button. Like they will, take a buyer, show them a house, get them under contract, and then, oh, it's time for an inspection. Well, that takes 3 hours of my time. I actually had an agent put it in writing and tell me, this is like an $840,000 sale. He goes, going to inspections is just a huge waste of my time. Can't you just open the door and let the unlicensed, unqualified inspector in the house going over all these systems all by himself? And I'm like, no. First of all, it invalidates my insurance. So if something goes wrong, and it could go wrong on an inspection, my insurance gets tagged, right? I get requests probably every week from agents saying, well, can't you just give out the combo to the inspector? I had one just last week text me and go, this is like the day before the scheduled inspection. He'll go, oh, something came up. Can I just give the combo out to the inspector? I'm like, no, you need to either get somebody on your team to attend, or B, you need to reschedule. And they don't like it when I kind of hold their feet to the fire. But I've had crazy stuff happen in my real estate career when it comes to inspections. I've seen inspectors do things like take apart pedestal sinks, go up in the attic and stick their big fat foot through the drywall. You name it, it could happen. So I want them to be there because technically there is a license law that says that you cannot let unlicensed person in somebody's home without permission. So I'm not giving them permission to do that. So I've had agents, go and just give a combo, right, to the buyer, or they'll come and open the door and turn around and leave because they don't want to wait the 2 or 3 hours to do an inspection. Now, keep in mind, on average, the buyers are making anywhere from 10 to 20 grand in these price ranges per transaction. Now, would you hang out? You might have spent a couple hours showing the buyer, but then, okay, maybe 1 or 2 or 4 or 5 homes. Then you spend an hour doing a contract. That's 2 hours. Then you go to a 3-hour inspection. Then you do a final walkthrough and closing. So, okay, 6 hours altogether to make an average of $15,000 to $20,000. Would you like that gig, Richard?
Jeez. I'm thinking that's not a bad gig, right?
It's unbelievable. And they complain about it. They don't want to do it. I don't know what they have to do other than represent their clients, but they should be there. They should be aware of what's going on, even though they technically don't have to do any due diligence with the inspection or verify. If I'm a buyer's agent, I want to know what the buyer and what the inspector is seeing so I can logically make that request. most of the inspectors do a very formal report. Many times it's 80 pages long, but it matters on how the inspector characterizes the issue, right? They might say, okay, well, we've got, rotted wood here under this piece of trim. It's no big deal. Maybe over time you should look at replacing those. Or they'll say, oh my God, you've got mold behind the siding, something like that. So if they're not there, it opens the door for problems, in my view. And it does say in the contract that the home is sold as is, where is, with all its faults. And many of these mechanical systems are checked out by the inspector. The furnace, the water heater, the electrical system, the septic and or sewer system, decks, rotted wood, all kinds of things. If the home has a well, then they might test the well. And I've had some crazy town stories take place with all of these systems. I've actually had, so this is one of my favorite things, is a lot of the inspectors will deem a water heater and smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors to be dead and useless after 10 years. Now, I'm just here to tell you that our water heater lasted over 22 years. And I replaced it just because I was nervous about it failing when we weren't home, but it was still working. Electrical systems, there's one, maybe two brands of electrical panels that were known to cause fires. If you overloaded the circuit, it wouldn't trip and then it would cause a fire. So almost every inspector is going to go, oh, got to replace it. Another thing is the gray colored plumbing, the polybutylene plumbing was known to fail at the fittings, but not if it didn't have the fittings, then it's probably just fine. And septic and sewer, I could go on for a whole segment just about that system. A majority of people, when I ask the seller, when's the last time you had your sewer system scoped or checked out? And typically the answer is, it hadn't backed up. It works. We don't have any issue with it, right? They don't, it's not a routine maintenance thing that they pay attention to unless they have, some heavy trees with roots and stuff. I have seen inspectors run a well dry because they didn't know what they were doing. They'll come in the house, they'll turn on every single faucet inside and outside the house and run it full blast for the full amount that they're there. It could be 2, 3, or 4 hours. In this case, it was 4 hours. So that night I got a text from the seller going, how come there's sand in my sink in the tub? He'd actually run the well tank dry and was sucking sand up through there, which is not what you're supposed to be doing. People don't normally turn on every single faucet in the house and run it for hours and hours. It just doesn't make sense. I've had them drop things down the sewer lines. I've had them pop breakers and turn off critical components like a freezer. Imagine having a freezer full of meat and having some dummy inspector come in and flip breakers, pop it, and not reset it, and now your food's destroyed. So you got to watch what they're doing. One of my favorite ones last year was a inspector, after being, at least the agent was told, if you're going to check the sewer line, bring a plumber, don't do it yourself. So when we got the inspection objection, it said the basement toilet is missing. And the seller's like, well, that's kind of weird because I think I used it yesterday. Let me go down and look at it. He goes down and looks at it. And what the inspector had done was pulled the toilet. They grabbed the silicone mat from inside the tub, pulled the toilet. He put the mat under his knees so he's all comfortable. And then when he reseated the toilet after checking the sewer line, it got stuck under the rim of the toilet and he left it that way. So that was fun for negotiations. I've seen them tear apart pedestal sinks. I don't know why they're doing that. I've seen them leave tools in the inspection report stuck inside trim. Oh, look, the wood's rotted. Here, let me show you. Let me just stick my screwdriver in here. And it goes on and on. So here's, and the gadgets. Oh my God, I love the gadgets. So they will come in with the mold wand or and then they'll say, just because they visually see some discolorization, they'll say, oh, must have mold, but they haven't tested for mold. They don't know what kind of mold. It says, you got to fix it. There's mold. So You never know what you're going to get on these reports. And it's really good advice to tell the seller, build some time in there, because a lot of the agents don't give you a lot of time. We're going to do an inspection and we have to ask for stuff on Friday, and we want you to decide on what you're going to repair or fix on Monday. Oh, thank you very much. We went across a weekend where we don't have time to get trades in, some professionals to take a look at these systems and confirm or deny whether or not that issue really is an issue. So you really want a professional that's watching everything to make sure that there are no surprises in this process. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how do you keep real estate agents from derailing the deal over inspections. Typically, it is another phase of negotiations. Some buyers want absolutely everything, and if they don't get everything, they're going to walk. Okay, fine. They probably weren't that into that house anyway. In the meantime, you're telling the world it's under contract and no one else is looking at it. So it's crazy what goes on in real estate. And that's why I'm doing this show, just to tell you about my experiences. So hopefully it can help you whenever you do buy or sell a home. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some things that you can do to prepare for your home inspection, so it is a stress-free phase of the sale. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can reach Barb at 719-301-3900. So, Barb, what are some other things that a home seller can do to prevent the agent from blowing up the sale and it not happening?
So I would recommend that you have a professional take a look at the major critical systems before you go on the market. And now there's two schools of thought. Some people think, well, if I know about it, I have to tell everybody. Well, they're going to find out anyway. You can always get a second opinion if you're not sure of that one contractor, but it's a really good idea to do that, especially roof, furnace, water heater, and sewer line or septic system. You can also plan on including a home warranty that covers those systems for a year after the buyer closes. Now, a lot of people think they're still on the hook for that. No, they're not. You're just providing a warranty against the system. So after closing, if something fails, the buyer can reach out to the home warranty company and get some money or get some repairs to cover that. Some buyers check for radon. So those cost anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500. Rotted wood on decks get hit. Appliances, I love all the negotiations on appliances, because refrigerators, washer, and dryer are considered personal property. So if you're leaving those with the home, it's a gift to the buyer. You don't necessarily have to warrant it, but I have gotten objections recently saying, well, we want a new ice maker in my free refrigerator. We're like, no, we're not doing that. Furnaces, I would see probably 9 out of 10 times they're asking for that. Windows, typically if they're broken, sometimes broken seals, which is that condensation you see between windows. But if they're broken, plan on fixing those. And there's all kinds of fun behavior that we see on inspections themselves. I've had agents, order pizza at the inspection. I've had them just, open the door and turn around and leave and not attend the inspection. I've had them confront us for being there representing our client during the inspection, you name it. But at the end of the day, one of the best systems that we have is a certified pre-owned home program that works really well. Recently, I had some sellers do that where they basically got prepared before they put their home on the market. And because they did that, the buyer, when they did their own inspection, asked for very few things, or they waived the inspection altogether. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, you can call Barb at 719-301-3900, or as always, visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing 27 easy fix-up tips to give you the competitive edge when you're selling your home. Stay tuned for that.
I know I've covered that before, but
No, you know what? I think that's the thing is I honestly think that some of this stuff deserves to be covered again because, and we've talked about it before, but most people don't listen to the entire show. I wish everybody listened to my entire show.
yeah,
And
but they're
I've
in and
taken,
out.
what's that?
They're in and out. They're doing
They
this,
are.
don't do that. They're,
And so David and I talked about it, but for a long time, if I talked about something on the show, I wouldn't talk about it again. And then I realized that simply because I talked about something on Tuesday at 9:30, that doesn't mean that Thursday at 10 o'clock, or not 10 o'clock, but 8:30, that person has not heard it. So I think if it's a good topic, I think it's just fine to repeat it. In fact, I think you'd be remiss not to do it. And you don't want to be remiss, do you, Barb?
no, not
No,
at all.
that's what I'm saying. All right.
I always been a fan of the third time's the charm.
Yeah, there you go.
I actually hear you back there.
What is that they say? I'm going to tell you, let me tell you, I told you, or something like that. Okay, I am ready to go here.
I'm ready.
Did we tell you that we had Neil, I always get his DeGrasse Tyson on the program. I always screw up his middle name on the program today, and he was great. All right.
Yeah, Mark made a comment. My husband, he said it was pretty cool.
Count us back in.
It's on our podcast.
Oh yeah, it's up on the podcast, which I need to start telling people about that as well. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, home sellers planning to put their homes on the market often ask how to prepare. So, what are some important tips to drive up the sales price when they sell their Colorado Springs area home?
Well, Richard, I think at the end of the day, probably the most important factor before you go on the market is establishing a good fair market value price for the home. What I mean by that is pricing what I call realistically versus optimistically. Now, everybody wants the optimistic price, of course, but realistic is the way you actually get it sold. You want to position the home to be the best available home at the time. And most home sellers actually assume that they're selling the home as is with all its faults, but I can recommend some pretty easy improvements that will help the buyer be convinced to invest in purchasing your home. Some of the high ticket things that will come up, which I would definitely look into before you go on the market, would be the roof, the furnace, electrical, any structural issues, septic, sewer. Get that out of the way because it's going to come up and you really don't want it to be a real estate emergency while your home is on the market or while you're in inspection negotiations. A little bit of pre-planning can really go a long way for making the sale simple and worry-free. So number one, and a very inexpensive way to get your house ready for sale is to declutter. So the best way to do that, start with a picture, use your phone, take a picture of the room, do it horizontally, and then try to make that bigger on a computer or a laptop and let it speak back to you. I mean, most people get very comfortable with their surroundings and they don't think anything about it. But it hit home with me when we had those fires about, what was that, 13 years ago? I had to take pictures, somebody suggested, hey, take pictures of your contents for if you have to make an insurance claim. So I did. And later I looked at it and went, oh, I didn't know our house was cluttered. I had no idea. So the pictures really show it to you. It's worth your time. And then at the end of the day, create a very simple system. Okay. You also should do it one room at a time. I'd start with that. I tend to, I have a little bit of ADD in me, so I tend to start one thing and not finish it and move on to the next thing. So I have to really train myself to focus. Okay, I'm just doing this room, or I'm just doing the kitchen cupboards at this point, which people don't really look at the content of the cupboards. They want to know if there's pull-out drawers in the kitchen. That's kind of a nice feature or benefit. But they don't necessarily care about what's in there. But I have seen buyers say, oh, all of these closets are so stuffed, it gives the impression there's not enough storage in the house. So it's a really good idea to purge before you go on the market with stuff you're not using, don't need. And then you would categorize it in 4 basic things. I would say throw stuff away, donate things, you could fix, amend, keep, maybe store, or put it away. So that gives you an idea. A lot of people rent a storage space and start getting ready for the sale, which is a really good idea. You want to focus on curb appeal, living room, kitchen, master bedroom, master bathroom. Those are the top spaces that a buyer cares about. So you want to make sure those look fabulous, and having the home neutral is your friend. I have seen a lot of dramatic paint in my career, and in general, you just want a nice, clean look. It doesn't necessarily have to be white. It doesn't have to be grayish. It could be anything, but you want it to be neutral so it looks nice, so the buyers can visualize themselves living in the space. Things like Bronco orange, red, there's a couple other colors that really jump out. Purple are a little bit too dramatic, and some buyers can't see that. Now, they can't see themselves living there. So let's say it's just 1 bedroom, not the master, because the master really has to be one of the key rooms that you have to focus on. But let's say it's a kid's bedroom that's painted pink. That's okay. Don't worry too much about that. Another thing that makes the house look very dated are things like borders. That was a thing back in the 80s and 90s, those strip borders that you see on walls, or faux paint. Now, some faux paint is beautiful, but in general, on camera, it just gets magnified and it really looks very dated. Flooring, you'll absolutely get every dollar out of replacing flooring. I had one lady that had a 1960 home, and the kitchen was original. The appliances were original, if you could believe it. 70-year-old appliances, they all worked. And it had kind of granny carpet over the top of this beautiful gleaming hardwood floor that had never been used. So I suggested that they go ahead, because her husband was very handy, go ahead and pull out that carpet, pull out the screws or whatever. And it was amazing. It sold for a bidding more. I had one client that had the 80s time warp mauve pink carpet. That's not good, because any reds or pinks get magnified online. And so they did that, they neutralized it, and that one sold with a bidding more. Roofs, so I would recommend having a professional check that out. Sewer and septic sometimes can take a long time, so I would get ahead of those issues. And then we typically don't photograph the inside of closets or garages unless they're a showpiece. Like what I did with a client recently, he had this really cool 6-car garage shop, and it was full of cars and stuff and all that. And I had my virtual assistant empty it. It was amazing. It was just amazing how they could empty out that space and make it look perfectly empty. And it looked great. That's what you want to attract the buyer. Another very low cost update that you can do is update your light fixtures. Some light fixtures, either they're broken, they don't have matching light bulbs, they are dated, like the really shiny brassy gold kind of went out of style. So I would consider doing that, especially in the key rooms: living room, kitchen, master bathroom. I've seen people paint their oak stale. Oak, for some reason, is a little bit off trend, but I've seen some really nice tall quality oak cabinets. So there's nothing wrong with oak itself. It's just a color trend that's changing. So some people are painting those, which looks really, really nice. And a deep cleaning is critical, because if it's not clean, you will get a good return on your investment on taking care of just that one simple thing. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And what we're talking about are the 27 fix-up tips that you should think about that will give you a competitive selling edge in any market. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the ones that actually get you the most money for the effort. So give us a call, 719-301-3900. We also have a free report on our website that is titled The 27 Easy Fix-Up Tips. Go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on the green free reports button, and you can download that for free. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you are interested in selling your home, you want to call Barb. The number is 719-301-3900. And we're talking, Barb, about those 27 tips to drive up the sales price of your Colorado Springs home. What are some other home repairs that can yield a great return on investment?
Well, doing a pre-inspection will get you ahead of the sales process an awful lot. So we have something that includes a pre-inspection and a home warranty called our Certified Pre-Owned Home Program. And it really does help get you ahead of it. So it's the whole picture. It's pricing, pre-inspection, and getting the house ready for sale. Because at the end of the day, the buyers want to move in, drop their stuff, get on with their lives, and not do any work. And you just, unless the home is underpriced, well below similar sales, you're not gonna, you're gonna have buyers that are gonna nitpick over broken stuff. So it's a really good idea to do that. Another thing that will help you is also to get rid of any unwanted furniture. You can donate it. There's some really good charitable causes. I just helped a client that had a lot of stuff. In fact, we marketed without inside pictures, which is kind of rare, but it was priced well enough to do that. It was a home that did not have updates, but it was priced correctly. And he got help getting ready for his move from some really cool resources that will come and pack for you if you can't do it. They'll have help repurpose, get rid of unwanted furniture, that kind of thing. So, not every home is marketed the full-on version. We even include our moving van. We have 2 moving vans that our clients just love using. And basically, for me, it's a giant billboard because it's wrapped with all my branding on it. But for the clients, they love to be able to have access to this van. Maybe they've got some pieces they want to donate to family. Maybe they want to donate to charity, and those charities won't come pick it up. It's a real handy thing. Or they want to get rid of some stuff. Another thing is curb appeal is very, very important. And this time of year, here we are walking into the summer after Memorial Day, and getting curb appeal right is absolutely critical because buyers won't buy if you can't get them in the door with the first picture, right? That's the number one picture that makes them decide yay or nay whether or not they're even going to come look at the home. So this is a really important decision. And even if you're planning on selling in the winter, I would get the home photographed during the summer when everything's green and the flowers are out and all that. Most buyers are looking at the front as well as the backyard. What is the lifestyle? So that's why I do recommend doing that in the summer if you can. I would also take a look at things like concrete. Concrete actually breaks, right? It moves, it gets wet, it fractures. If it has a trip hazard, like a crack that could cause people to walk across and fall, I would recommend maybe having that fixed. I remember having a seller a few years back where their whole front sidewalk going up to the front porch was really very wonky. It had a lot of aspen trees and they were lifting and moving the sidewalk. So they brought in a company that does what they call mud jacking, where they basically cut a hole in the concrete and pump concrete underneath and then pull the pieces together that have fractured and reseal it. And it looked amazing, night and day. And that one also got a bidding more. And it's really, really important that you scrutinize the pictures that are put online, because buyers are making, that is your first showing. I think Zillow has this new phrase that says screen appeal is the new curb appeal, which is true. Buyers are deciding before they even waste their gas money to come look at your home or not waste their gas money based on the photos that they see online. So if the photos aren't good, it will actually repel buyers from going to see it. And still to this day, I'm seeing real estate agents that don't have any issue with taking their smartphone, taking some happy snaps, using their phone, and the lighting is bad. It just doesn't attract the buyer to want to come. And then they're wondering how come it's not selling. But photos can absolutely attract the buyer. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about photos that don't give the proper impression of what the home actually looks like. Buyers hate that too. They don't like being disappointed when they get there. So you want to make sure they're realistic, but they're also attracting the buyer. And if you want to find out how to do that, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Or if you want a free report, that 27 tips to sell your home fast and for the most money, go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Go up to the free reports tab. You'll find it there. When we come back, we'll be discussing a lot. Hold on. I forgot to jot that over. 3, 2, 1. When we come back, we'll be discussing why a cash offer may be better than a traditional offer. Plus, we'll be talking about Barb's hot new listings. Don't miss any of that.
All right.
All right. You know, I've got there's a part of me that just feels like I might live in Texas at some point. And so if I do, and this is the bad part, if I do, it would be South Texas, down near Padre Island, et cetera. So I was looking at some houses down there. It is amazing. You can really buy a pretty dang big house in a small town down there for what you would hardly get anything up here. But the problem is it's in the middle of nowhere and it's hot all of the time. What
And
do they
humid.
say? Location, location, location.
I'll be right back.
Yep.
In a sec.
You don't realize it until you walk
I know, right? Yes. Oh my God. Well, I saw the email from last week. Has there been anything that anybody's even thought about doing since then? I'll send an email. I mean,
Bill said, "Oh, it's not so bad."
Tell you what, you come in here. We'll trade spots, Bill. You know what? And I'll be honest with you. I'm sitting in here all day today.
He's on vacation all this week. You know that, right?
No. But I'll tell you what, I'm sitting in here all day today and I'm thinking, gosh, dang, I better get another Red Bull because I feel no energy and drowsy. And I thought, well, you know what? It's just because it's so damn hot. Would you like good cookies? I have some great cookies there.
I'll be okay.
All right.
Thank you. Oh, there she is.
Ready when you guys are.
Okay. We can get going if you.
All right. Here we go, Barb. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. It's the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, host of the program and owner-broker of Your Home Sold, Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, with the real estate market cooling off a bit, many home sellers don't want to wait to sell their homes or worry about their contracts failing for various reasons. What are the benefits of accepting a cash offer on their home versus waiting for that traditional sale?
Well, Richard, it shouldn't be cooling off. It should be our prime time for selling right now, but the rates keep creeping up a little bit. Last time I checked, it was, leaning towards the mid sixes. And that means there are fewer buyers for the home sellers to compete with. So some home sellers absolutely want the certainty of, hey, I got offers, let me just take one. So, and if in general, if you have two offers in front of you, a lot of sellers will ask if one is cash and one is not cash, what's the benefit of one or the other? And really the only difference between a cash offer versus a financed offer is that the only sticking point on a cash offer is the inspection. Whereas on a financed offer, you got to worry about the inspection and the buyer's loan approval and the appraisal. You have to a lot of landmines to get through before you get to the finish line. So, a lot of sellers kind of want the sure bet. And, but some cash buyers think that, oh, well, I should get a discount because I have this cash. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. It really just depends on how good the offer is. So how does a home seller decide what is the best offer for them? Well, first of all, right now in this market, if you are a home seller and you're getting more than one offer, it's a happy thing. It means that, okay, you've got choices and you can make a decision. But in general, a lot of people love cash offers because they're faster, they're simpler, there are less issues to worry about. You don't have to worry about loan approval, appraisal, buyers, failing to get their financing put together. I remember I had one deal fall apart because the military guy got transfer orders in the middle of the transaction. Nothing you can do about it, right? You have to let it go and try to get another buyer. So this certainty for home sellers of a cash offer is obviously very appealing, but they don't realize that certainty and price are not necessarily the same thing. In other words, typically a cash offer can close quickly, but that doesn't mean that the seller wants to close quickly. I recently got a cash offer on one of my listings, and they wanted to close really quick, and the seller's like, oh, I gotta move all that stuff, I'm not sure I can do it that fast. So there's a lot of things that people have to consider when they're looking at offers. Typically a cash deal can close in as little as 10 days, but the average person can't really plan and execute a move that quickly, especially if they have a household full of stuff. A lot of times the offers might come in below market value. So if it's an investor buyer, everybody assumes that, oh, they're going to try to steal my equity, but that's not always the case, at least in our world. So traditional buyers typically might offer more money than a cash buyer, but they take longer to close and they come with a lot of contingencies. Well, can I get my financing? Will this third party appraiser agree that it's worth what I agreed to pay? So there's a lot of things that could derail the transaction. And I have to ask the sellers, do you want the most money or do you want certainty? And there's some sellers that will pick a lower net dollar amount to them and the certainty over worrying about the traditional sales process and having the deal fall apart. And it's interesting to me that 30% now of home sellers are just saying, yeah, I'll take the cash money and get out of here. They'd rather eliminate that risk. And not all finance buyers are risky. I've seen some really strong financed offers where they're putting a huge down payment. I've seen some offers where they waived the appraisal because they don't have to worry about it. The buyer's financial ability to perform is strong enough that we don't even need that. So you need to know the whole picture. Recently, I helped a ex or retired Marine infantry officer sell his home in the northwest part of town. And when we first met, I asked him, okay, what's most important? Is it price? Is it timing? Is it who buys it? And he goes, well, it's price. I want the most money. I said, okay. So I said, well, what I suggest that you do is price it what I call very realistically versus optimistically. And he wasn't sure about that. His traditional mindset was like, well, most people, ask for a higher price and expect a negotiation in between. But I can tell you, the buyers won't even show up at your house if you build in negotiating room with the price. So I don't recommend that you do that. We ended up having a good grand opening of the home. We got 40 people there in a very short period of time. I had 6 different offers on the house. And I was so proud of myself when I showed up with 6 offers. I'm like, see, isn't this fun? I got you multiple offers. And he goes, no. And I said, why not? And he goes, I told you to get me the most money. How are you going to get me the most money? I'm like, my God, I got 6 offers here. So I ended up working the 2 top buyers against each other. And he actually picked the second highest offer because it was cash. It was because of that certainty, because of that fear of what if after inspection, the house does not appraise at the agreed upon sales price? What if we're 3 weeks into the deal and we've already boxed up all of our stuff? The house doesn't look show ready. And I might have to walk back the price if the appraiser doesn't agree it's worth that much and end up having to resell it again. All of those are nightmare scenarios. So we ended up opting for the little bit lower cash buyer. So I totally get why he did it. It was a lot of fun. The process was a lot of fun. So just so you know, the best offer is not always the highest offer. You have to take a really hard look at all of the terms. Got an offer last weekend, contingent on a home that just went under contract. So I told the buyer, hey, you got to worry about your buyer and their buyer and make sure all of those processes go through. So you have to understand your goals, your timeline, what is your tolerance for risk. And the traditional financed offer has some issues, which would be appraisal, loan approval, and of course the inspection. But if you accept an offer contingent on their home selling, then you also have to worry about their buyer's appraisal, inspection, and loan approval. So if you are thinking of making a move, we help home sellers do this every day. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. So we're talking about what are the pros and cons of traditional versus cash offers. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a few things that will help your deal from falling through. Give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and you can reach her at 719-301-3900. $3,900. We're talking with Barb about how sellers can trade up to a new house. So, if a seller does take a cash offer, is there any risk of it falling through or giving up some of the equity in a deal like that?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't make a buyer buy or a seller sell. Any deal probably could fall through. It's just less likely to fall through if the only issue is inspection. And generally, that's the one that you got to worry about. Now, a lot of people assume that cash buyers are low offers. Not the case. We typically show up at every listing with at least a dozen offers on our seller's home, and they can make the decision about which option they want to go with. Do they want to go on the open market and take the risk, or they just want to take a cash offer and get it done? And we have some really great buy before you sell programs that allow to make the seller to make that transition from one house to another without having to time the market just right, without having to worry about, oh my God, I got to load up the moving van in a few days and get out and then get the money and then move to the next house. This way you can move at your pace. You have a certainty of the sale, and it could be done in as little as a few weeks. We have a whole bunch of programs like that. And we also guarantee price. So if you want to give us a call and take a look at our cash offers, we can put any address in the country up in our system and get you multiple cash offers. Give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. And now it's time for hot new listings. Richard. Hello, hello. Test 1, 2. I don't hear you right now. I can't hear you. Okay, no rush. Graphic, isn't that pretty?
That's what the problem was. Okay. Barb, I'm going to go back to where I transitioned from the prior one to the hot new listings in 3, 2, 1. Barb, you and your team are the only company that I would recommend to people out there thinking of selling their homes and downsizing to a smaller home to reach Barb. Give her a call at 719 301 3900. Barb, your favorite time? Mine as well. Hot new listings. What do we have this week?
Oh, Richard, I have a spectacular log home out in beautiful Peyton Pines on 7.45 acres with a huge attached 2-car, almost 3-car garage, plus a detached 6-car shop that's just spectacular on beautiful treed acreage, a high performing well, a chicken hotel, total privacy, total quiet, and really the perfect Colorado getaway where you feel like you're in the mountains, but you're only 30 minutes from town on Steeplechase, priced at $874,999. Another beautiful home on Eagle Mountain in Manitou Spring. I'm sorry, in Crystal Park, right behind Manitou Springs, priced just under $1 million. This home has a gorgeous RV garage and offers VA assumable loan. We also have an amazing condo on Lexington Village, almost 1,600 square feet at 179.9. Beautiful home for sale in Pueblo that's basically owned by the VA on Buffalo Lane in Pueblo, 23500. An amazing property south of Pueblo on 62 acres at 599.9 on Reno Road. And then we also have an amazing rancher on Cascading Springs Circle, priced at $469,900. This beautiful ranch has all kinds of smart technology and would be a great place to, have a home that you could enjoy Colorado living, but then still be able to travel and enjoy traveling and be able to control the house from afar. We also have an amazing condo in town on Sonata Drive, priced at $199,900. And then a beautiful townhome, 1,600 square feet, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, lots of storage at $309,900. New to the market this week, a beautiful townhome downtown on 275 Fountain, almost 3,000 square feet with a 2-car garage in a great location in the low 500s. Another beautiful home in Crystal Park in Manitou at $849,900. This home has over 4,000 square feet, spectacular views, solar system. It's totally move-in ready. We also have a great home on 2436 North Meade Avenue, 3-bedroom, 1-bath with a 1-car in the low 300s. Another gorgeous home with a VA assumable loan down in Pueblo on Gold King at $369,000. Great home on 5 acres on Warriors Pass in the low 6s. And then a couple of spectacular luxury homes. One of them is a hobby farm on Judge Orr Road at $1,399,000. This home has an auxiliary dwelling unit, 11-car enclosed space, a beautiful custom ranch style home, and 2 barns at a great price. And then another beautiful home up in Florissant at $2.15 million on 35 acres, gorgeous treed lot with a beautiful shop that has its own apartment. And coming soon, a couple of sneak peek homes, one in Briargate and another one in Peyton on 35 acres, also with an assumable loan. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900. You want to find out about our coming soon properties, go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on featured homes. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, you can reach Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. That'll do it for this week. If you didn't hear the entire show, it is always available as a podcast. Barb, you have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your week.
There you go. All right. Let's see here. Oh, here we are. I have no energy. We're sitting here at just under 80 degrees. And I told David, I'm like,
Really?
I felt sluggish all morning. I'm like, I guess I need to drink more Red Bull or something. And we're in a sauna. Why should a seller pay
break.
the buyer agent commission? How to prevent real estate agents from derailing the sale with home inspections. 27 easy fix-up tips to give you the competitive edge when you're selling your home.
I like the first one. It's
All right.
different and it's what I get asked every week.
Wow. Okay. Very good. Hang on. Where did I put my? Oh, here it is. Yeah. If they're asking you, then that is what we should be telling them. I can't wait to get out of this one.
Why we talked about UFOs today.
Yeah. Right.
Because that's what we're asked about on the territory.
You go. What is that? You dance with the one that's hot, or wait, dance with the one that brung you. But while you're dancing with her, you're looking at the one that's hot and hoping that you can come to the dancer with her the next time, or
I don't know what
something. All right.
I
Here,
heard that one.
I know. Here we go.
I think you made it up.
I did. 3, 2, 1. Your Real Estate Voice is Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Airs every Saturday from 11 until noon, right after Cudlow, here on 740 KBOR. This weekend, Barb will be talking about why should a seller pay the buyer's agent commission. You'll be surprised. Barb's got that answer. Is that time-wise? Is that about? Barb's got all the answers. I should have just said that. Barb's always got the answers. All right, Barbara, we will talk to you next week.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yep, you got it.
All right. Bye-bye.